Yo, gamers, what's up? It's GoldDemon. Since you guys enjoyed that last discussion video about me talking about Wong, I figured I'd do another one, right? It seems to be doing well, and I just wanted to start with this one being Honkai Impact. Sorry. Oh my god. I'm not cutting this. If I cut in the middle of it, it's because I'm waiting on something. But Honkai Star Rail is just straight up better than Genshin, without question. And the funny thing is I'm not actually a fan of turn-based games. This is the only turn-based game I've played for this long. I've played it more than any Pokemon game I've ever played. Ironically, my birthday is on the day every Pokemon release is. It's weird, but yeah. But yeah, I played more than any Pokemon game than any other JRPGs I've tried before. Like legit, this is the most playtime I've put in any turn-based game, and there are a lot of reasons for that. But I just want to say, if you compare this game to Hoyo versus other big game, Genshin, or their biggest game, Genshin, this game is so much better in like every single way. And I just wanted to talk about that because like it seemed to bring some people in on stream the other day, so that's awesome. But yeah, I might as well might as well get to my points. So the thing I want to start with is I wouldn't necessarily call it end game, but I would say the events, which in turn are kind of end game content for these games, but the events themselves are just factually better without question. Um, the biggest thing about them being better is that they have permanent events. It's permanent content. Like I don't care if you I mean, sure, like you can it's not that I don't care, but like sure you can dislike these events, but the sheer fact that every update has had some permanent event is fantastic for new players and old players, right? Because this allows like everyone to get some rewards. And again, there are rewards that are gone, right? There's the limited time rewards that are gone. But the point is that it's still permanent content. It's a little thing that people can grind out for rewards, and that's fantastic. Genshin doesn't have that. They remove all their events. Not only that, but the actual event content in this game I find so much like more enjoyable compared to Genshin. Most of the Genshin stuff has been garbage, and it's not that I don't like repeat events. Repeating events is fine if done well, but in Genshin's case, it does them very poorly, and I hate most of the events personally. I know some people really enjoy the music events and get creative with them, and I believe recently they finally allowed us to save like music tracks that we have created, right? And there's also been, I think, three times the custom course events. Like those are pretty interesting, and I actually do like the most recent iteration of it that they did, where you were able to like put enemies in it and then farm up what is it, achievements. I actually think that's pretty cool. So that one I didn't mind. But most of the other Genshin events, like what is it, the music ones I mentioned, I don't like. I hate them. I think they're absolutely terrible. A lot of events in Genshin are just flat out boring in terms of like gameplay wise, and that's the biggest problem I have with them. Is that they are just like again boring. They could do a lot more with the events to make them more fun, and they simply don't. And I think that is well very cringe. And again, it's not like this applies to all the events. As I said, like the most previous create your own domain one, I actually really liked. Uh, the ones I think Genshin does its strongest are the ones that enhance its game. So like the exploration events, right? I think those are the some of the best event content the game has because that is rewarding the player for exploring at that time, right? It helps it's the English, God. It's an incentive on top of the gameplay they already made, right? So it's like, hey, during this update, I want to go and explore. I can get more rewards if I do it now. So it's like, okay, let me go check everything out. And so you do, right? I think it's really good, especially if they when they tie in combat things because it allows you to explore and there's a bunch of extra stuff on the map, right? That you can do. And they're basically always tuned to where you just like run through the map and there's another thing to do, another thing to do, another thing to do, right? Like I think they're really strong with the game's exploration, having those exploration events where it tells you to collect certain things and do certain tasks. Right, I think those are all really good and very very simple events that they should run every single time they add onto the map. can't stress you enough. This is going to be into my next point, but Genshin doesn't do its events right in terms of quantity. The quality of them is here or there because some of them are like pretty high quality. They put a lot of effort into them, like the Lantern Rite ones. And the other ones are just like, oh, it's a literally just a combat arena. But that is less important. It's more of like what the event brings in terms of like a gameplay perspective, right? And so, for me, those exploration events are really good, and as I said, they need to be in the game every time they add a new area. If there's an update without a new area, replace it with something else. But every time there's a new area, do exploration event related to that area, right? So this will be an initial surge of resources for players who are playing at that time. Fantastic. Now, on the topic of what I said earlier, like returning players, yeah, they won't get that. But that's why Genshin needs to add some permanent content. It doesn't have to be related to the area. It just needs to add permanent content that is sort of like a different mode for players to enjoy. And so on to the next thing about that I mentioned, the events in terms of how, oh my god, there's so much stuff related to why this game is just better. Give me, um, yeah. So the frequency of events, right? I said before that every single update needs to have, that like every single update with a new area needs to have an exploration event. That will already make the game way better. And if there was some permanent stuff tied to that, that'd be fantastic. Honkai Star Rail has done that fantastically, as these permanent events actually, this most recent one has unlocked a new shop area. There's new shops in there for you to buy and get recipes, and that's permanent content. They're not going to magically remove those shops later, right? Um, and so, like, yeah, like, why can't Genshin have that? It's one of the things that I've said before, like, Genshin needs to have more grindable shops that reset weekly to give us stuff to do. Give me reasons to log into the game, because again, the game's combat is the main thing with the game is the combat, right? Its combat is good, but there's zero reason to log in for a lot of players. And so simply doing that would be great. Um, and so that's just an example for that event. But for the so what Star Rail has done, right? And again, this is on the same point of the frequency of events, is that they have every update ran an event for increasing the amount of resources you get. So 1.0, you had to double resources for traces, right? And you had a double relic. I believe it was 1.0, right? Was that 1.0? Either way, double trace. There's a double trace. 1.1, there was a double relic. 1.2, another double relic. This update 1.3, another double relic. So they're it's the new balls, the planar ornaments, right? But they are giving us events like the Leyline Overflow in Genshin every single update. Genshin, I believe, is starting to do it every update. I can't remember off the top of my head because I normally like completely ignore those events as I'm AR60 and I don't really need the resources. But that's fantastic. The fact that every single update in Star Rail is giving us an event like that, Genshin should have done that from day one. Every single update has at least a week of double resources like Star Rail is doing. And the best part is they actually changed it in Star Rail where you can do it in one day if you want to. If you like pre-saved all your stuff, or if you just want to spend your resin then. Fantastic. Legit, just do that every single update. That is one thing that makes this way better, is that they have that event for every single update. I don't know why Genshin didn't do that from the beginning. Very cringe, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still stuck on the fact that they didn't do that. It's crazy that it's not like that. Um, but yeah, so the I guess the next thing besides that every single update, the main thing that I like to compare this to is other gacha games. So for Genshin, for example, they'll have like the event that starts a couple days after the update launches, and it will go for like half the update, right? And then you'll get like a couple days later a small event, and then a couple days later another small event, and then that last week is dead, right? I don't think Genshin should have a single day where there isn't an event active, right? And I know some people are gonna not agree with me on this point, but I actually think it makes the game worse not having an event active every single day. Like if I log in on the start of the new update, just show me a whole list of events. It doesn't really matter what they are as long as it's a bunch of stuff to do. So I feel like I should log in the next day and play the game. Um, and I bring up the comparisons because like in Honkai they have done it pretty well to where the events are overlapping enough to where like right now you have the Swarm Disaster, which is permanent content. I'll get into in a second. It was the main topic of this video, but I gotta talk about the other stuff first. Um, and then the other like box event where you stack the objects, right? They're going on at the same time. Like they start at the same time. That one, the box one, obviously started first, and then this one came around. But they're still going on at the same time, alongside some of the other stuff that they're doing, right? Um, Fantastic. In Genshin's case, they don't do that. And again, I don't know. Again, so like Genshin, as I said, like there's normally that gap week. Layer them so that as soon as it's like the event is concluded or all the stages are open in Genshin, start the next event, right? You need to do that and keep every single event active. There shouldn't be one day where there is no event, right? Star Rail's done pretty good on that, where there's basically reason to log in every day. There was a little bit of a decline there for the events, but other than that, it's been great. And so in Genshin's case, like I like to again, as I said, I like to compare it to other gachas. But like in Dragon Ball Legends, if you guys have ever played that or Dokkan Battle or I guess any other gacha, a lot of times what they do is uh they'll have the regular content obviously, but then they have their event section, and then they list a bunch of event stages or different events that they do. And again, in Legends case, right, they've created a bunch of these special stages, special like sections of content, and during like their big celebrations, they're all available, right? You can do them at your own pace, basically. The new ones, obviously, they have to unlock over time, of course, because that's what they want to do, player retention, all that. Why doesn't Genshin do that? Why isn't when I log in, there's a whole bunch of events? Like, why? Why? It's not even about the primo gems. Like, I would love to get more primo gems and other resources, but the fact that when I log in, there isn't a huge like chunk of stuff to do, it's just like why, you know? I would love to see a bunch of events that are always active in Genshin, but it just isn't the case, you know. As I said before, like using Legends as an example, right? They offer like free to play characters essentially every update. You know, a ton of currency for summons. Genshin does do that in a way. They give us a free weapon or character every other update, starting from the point .0 update. So like it resets the cycle, right? Um, which is fantastic, but a lot of the weapons have been shit. Um, I know some people won't complain, but I'm definitely gonna complain. Like I care less about the characters, that being that I have played the game for so long, and again the characters are nice, and I do think they should put an appealing character on the update or whichever one they feel like is good for the story, whatever the hell they choose. But truly the weapons have just been like completely useless, and so it doesn't feel like a really good reward. And it goes back to where if this was permanent, it wouldn't matter as much because it's like, oh yeah, I can do this whenever and get a weapon out of it that I may be able to use, you know. But I can't remember a single time where any of those weapons are the best in slot, apart from Albedo. And the funny thing about that is if you're a new player, well, you're out of luck if you want Albedo because you can't get his best weapon, right? Um, which it sucks for any Albedo fans, but hey, I got it because I played for that long, so is what it is. Um, so yeah, apart from layering events in a specific way, that I think there should be more events, more reason to log into the game. And again, there's a whole bunch of selection or different pieces and different types of content that go and play at one time. I think it'd be a huge benefit to the game. There is no downside. I do want to mention an argument, or not really an argument, but a idiotic comment that I've seen many people make is that I don't want them to add more content, or like I don't think they should add more events. No, they should. It's to the benefit of everybody. There is literally no downside to them adding content, because if they add more content, well, guess what? You get to play it when you're ready for it. So there is no argument for them not adding content. They should. It is beneficial to everybody. Um, that's a bit of a side tangent, but I just thought I'd mention it. Um, God, what else is better? Oh, I guess that's basically everything. Many of my criticisms are for the end game. There's no end game content. They should add that. I mentioned vaguely earlier before grindable shops. You know how there's the grindable shop via the teapot system? Add more of those. Just simply add more of those. Add for us a way to grind specific resources to buy from a shop weekly. That's it. Like it, it's so simple for them to do that. Just do it. Like add more of those. It like actually. But yeah. So I guess onto the main thing. I guess like is it covers everything that I wanted to say apart from the main thing of the swarm disaster. I think that's everything. Yeah. Okay, let's wrap this up with Swarm Disaster, as Swarm Disaster completely shits on anything Genshin has ever done and probably ever will do. First off, this mode is fire. Secondly, the fact that it is permanent content that you is like it's permanent content is all you need. Like it's fantastic. I never expected them to actually add anything like this. I think it is great. The mode itself is fun. It's difficult, and well, I mean, what more can I say? You know, Storm Disaster is fantastic. I think it's great for the game adding permanent content like this that you can do at any time. Genshin really needs to do this. I think it's like I don't know. I think one of the biggest mistakes Genshin has made is not adding permanent content in like any form. You know, cause like again, some people are like, "Oh, exploration's permanent." That's not what I mean. Of course, exploration is there. It's an open world game. I'm talking about stuff to do after you explore, right? In Honkai's case, there is stuff to do after you explore. There's two different simulated universe modes. Hopefully, they add more, and there's Memory of Chaos, right? Genshin only has Abyss, right? And so, what I'm asking for is to give me another Memory of Chaos. Or, sorry, another simulated universe in Genshin. Something like that. Give us a new mode. Give us, it doesn't even have to be for rewards. Give us a new mode that excels in different unit types, right? It's very easy to do that. If it's a mob event, well, obviously Tartaglia is number one. Or like any grouper. If it's a single target DPS event, well, then you're going to pick different characters. Like, it's really easy for them to do that. I would love to see permanent content in the game, just period. Simulated universe. So Swarm Disaster is not only hard but fun, right? It expands on Simulated Universe. It allows you to unlock a new path in Simulated Universe, which just means you got more chances to play around with the buffs and everything, and it's just fantastic. And the fact that Genshin hasn't added that is absurd. I truly think they have failed to appease 90% of the player base. And I say that knowing that 90% is casuals, but those casuals will hit a point to where they probably just stop playing because they don't want to do the other content. This would give them stuff to try out and probably want to do. I mean, like, yeah, this mode's fantastic. I don't know what more to say about it. It's pretty simple. It took me what 15 something minutes to even get here. Like I don't know. Like I think it's fun. They added a new enemy type. They added new buffs so you can mess around and buff up your characters even more. They added unique stages within the actual mode, which are expand on the gameplay of a simulated universe, which is another thing that Genshin doesn't do. And probably should have mentioned about the combat events. Not a lot of them expand on the gameplay. A few of them have, which is cool. But as I said, for Genshin's case, run more events, right? It doesn't necessarily have to do more primos. They should do more primos, but run more events that are variety and that focus on the combat. Oh, I didn't say that actually. Make the events focus on the game's strengths. Stop adding these terrible minigame events. I don't know about you guys, but I actually hate the rhythm events. They're boring and just annoying for me to play. And yes, I do have a skill issue in terms of uh uh those, oh my god, the Osu events. I literally just said what they were. You know what I'm talking about. The music events, right? I do have a skill issue in pressing the buttons. Yes, I know it's a skill issue, but I don't care. I don't like those events. I think most of Genshin's events are hot garbage. The mini game ones of you jumping around and whatever they're fine, right? They're serviceable. But having a combat event every single update, I think is a must, right? Um, Hell, two every single update. There's the one that was a parry system, right? That mixed up the gameplay. Do more of that. I think those are some of the strong suits of the game, right? Exploration and then mixing up the current gameplay options. Legit, just do more of that. But then they don't. They give us some garbage music event that no one cares about with 50 million lines of dialogue. And I think that's what Storm Disaster does better, is that it adds a new mode, right? Mixes up the gameplay, not a lot of lines of dialogue. It's straight to the point, and it's permanent. Genshin has not done any of that. And I guess that's where I can wrap up this video. I guess it went a little long, but I guess I covered a lot. There, there's there's a lot to talk about in the case of like why Star Rail is just flat out better than Genshin. I didn't even get to a gameplay point. I guess I'll mention that quickly. I do prefer. I actually really like Genshin's gameplay. For some of the characters, a lot of them are just boring. But some of the characters have pretty good gameplay. Again, I'm not a huge turn-based games guy, but Star Rail has actually been pretty fun for me as it is a team turn-based game and not like a single or like two character turn-based game. And so you can do a lot of strategy with the combinations and whatnot. And it's got fun characters with cool designs and good animations. So, I've actually enjoyed this turn-based gameplay for once. So it's opened me up to that. And yeah, I guess that's it. If you made it this far, thank you. Hopefully you like, subscribe. Tell me in the comments below what you guys think. Uh, I, I, I probably could go on for longer on why Star Rail is just better than Genshin, but yeah, I guess that's really all I wanted to say. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on Twitch, that you follow me, all that stuff. Let's try to grow the channel. I just want to celebrate that finally hit 150 subs on Twitch, or not subs, sorry, followers on Twitch, so that's awesome. Thank you guys for that. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation about this down below on my streams, and I'll see you next time. Peace.